It's your coach, it's your friend, it's the hybrid checking in. Day 2 vlog. Question: when should I add in bands and or chains to my workout? Excellent question, excellent question. When should you add them in? I would say after you've been training a while and your technique is very dialed in, you know, it's on point, and you're having a problem with the lift, you know, and you tried some other methods, that's probably when you should resort to bands or chains or even boards. So in this video, I've added in some bands, resistance bands from Elite FTS. And these are the mini bands, so they're short. And the reason I like them is because you can just loop them under your feet, so you don't need like a jump rack or any of that stuff. Because since I don't always train in a powerlifting gym or someone's home gym that has that equipment, these are pretty handy for me. And they're not too expensive. I think maybe like 12 or 15 bucks for 2 of them. And they give you definitely enough tension, as you'll see. I fail later in the video using them. So back to the question as far as bands and chains. Bands and chains, they look really cool, and everybody, as always, wants to kind of work them into their training early on, or as soon as they start, like they're like, I'm a power lifter, so let me go out and get some bands and chains. But I'll tell you, you have to be really careful with them. And if you're adding, bands or chains to an empty bar, I definitely say you want to stop listening now and come back a little bit later when you've gotten stronger. So you need to have great technique and a decent strength base to use bands or chains. For novices employing extra resistance, one of your biggest challenges is going to be getting pulled out of your groove. And by that I mean, if your technique is still developing, you can very well do more harm than good. So I would say when your training repetitions, look identical and you've been moving a decent amount of weight for a while, is when you should definitely consider adding chains or bands. Now, I would say that chains are the best place to start if you don't have a coach or experienced lifter guiding you. It's just going to be easier for you to maintain the same groove with the addition of the chains, and there's a lot less strain on your joints. So if you have any sort of like joint injury, I'd say definitely use extra caution when adding resistance. Alright guys, now that I've actually answered the question, let's look at today's actual training session. So here there's 495 on the bar, that's bar weight. And with the added bands, if I was able to lock that out, it would have been about 630 at the top of the lift. Which that's probably right now my conventional max is around 640, 635, somewhere in that range. So definitely I should have been able to lock that weight out, and just a bad setup there. My feet were really narrow. Some technical errors there basically prevented me from completing the lift. So guys, I'm adding in the bands and chains now as something I've never done before, so hopefully they're gonna help my lifts increase. Basically doing any and everything now to hopefully get me as close to a 9 times body weight total as possible. So I'm bringing out all the stops, bands, boards, chains, whatever I can think of that I haven't done before that may possibly help me, I'm bringing it out for this meet here, guys. So I've kind of played around with the bands and chains before, but never really done them with any type of consistency. So that's what I'm going to be doing, throughout the next 8 to 9 weeks here up until the meet. I do know that I'm really focusing in this video more on the bands for, deadlift, but you can also use them, for your bench and squat. And I'm thinking that the chains are going to help my bench because I've used the bands before on bench, and I think that they kind of get me out of my groove a little bit too much and kind of affect my shoulder. So I'm probably not going to use them on the bench, except possibly on a speed day. But the chains will allow me to use more weight and work on my lockout. And that's really where I'm weak on bench. I think I really need to be able to feel like 430, just getting used to locking that weight out, and hopefully, at the meet I'm able to do at least 405 for a rep. So that's just a little bit about how I plan on kind of using, accommodating resistance over the next 9 weeks. Alright guys,
so here I am in the
here,
Smith machine with
we
the
have
bands.
me doing basically,
I believe that's 405
bar weight, and with the bands, I don't know, I wouldn't say they had 100 pounds, but probably in the 70 to 80 range, at the lockout. And I like to do these because it really makes me strain, and it really makes me keep my form, all the way throughout the lift, which is something that I'm really trying to work on for squatting, as of course, my goal is to squat close to 700 pounds in this next meet. So, definitely don't want to get loose with that type of weight on my back, as it can, cause a serious injury. So again, just, thinking outside the box, employing different things that I haven't done before. I have utilized this banded method in the past. Actually, Jesse Cullum does these. He told me about them, and I do agree that they definitely work your lower back. And again, I mean, my lower back is something I'm focused on strengthening, so I'm gonna definitely keep these in the training regimen throughout. So next up, we have stiff-legged deadlifts in the Smith machine. I really think these just destroy my hamstrings. I try to do these in a high rep range. I start out, light, just a 45, 25, then just keep going up. And I normally try and do between 15 and 20 reps. And you'll really feel these the next day in your hamstrings. So after this, I actually did a PR on military. Well, at least I haven't done seated military in a while, so I was able to hit 225 for 1 rep, which was definitely a good thing. As you know, everybody tells me that if you want to have a big bench, you need to have a big military press. So guys, that was this training session for today. After that, I just finished off with some tricep, bicep stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you guys for day 3.